Alright, so here are our notes for day 48. And today all we're going to do is work on factoring some more. So what I'm going to do is a few examples for you. What we have here for number one is we're asked to factor, but what's different about this one is the fact that we have, oops, let me go ahead and put this on the screen. We have a coefficient in our x squared of 3. So what we can do is we're going to have to do some factoring. 3, 9, and 12 can all be divisible by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and take a 3 out of them, and then I'll write down what's left over. If I take the 3 out of x squared, I have an x squared. For the 9x, I know 3 times 3 is 9, and then I still have an x. Minus, I know 3 times 4 is 12. So here are my basic factors. I'll go ahead and now I'm going to bring down the 3 again, and I'm going to go ahead and factor the x squared plus 3x minus 4. I need two numbers that equal negative 4 when I multiply them, but add up to positive 3 when I combine them. So positive 4 and negative 1 are my factors. I'm going to go ahead now and let's see. 3 is never equal to 0, so there's no factor there. And I have x will equal negative 4 when I solve that like we did before, and x will equal positive 1 here. So my roots are at negative 4 and 1. Let's try it again. For example number 2, we can factor out of 5 from all the coefficients. So I'll take out of 5, and that leaves me with x squared minus 4x minus 12. Now I'm going to go ahead and factor the x squared minus 4x minus 12. I need two numbers that multiply to negative 12, and when I add them, will combine to a negative 4. And that would be negative 6 and positive 2. So 5 does not equal 0, so there's no factor there. Go ahead and scratch that out. I get x equals positive 6 here, and x equals negative 2 here. So my roots, my solutions, are at negative 2, comma 6. All right, moving on. We can go ahead and go down now to number 3. Example 3 is where it actually begins, I guess, the new idea, the new topic. And now we have numbers that I can't factor anything. I have 2, 3, and 5. And they're really not compatible at all. So here's the trick you have to do whenever this situation happens. First thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and we're going to take the 2, and what we're going to do is multiply it times the number here at the end, times this negative 5. When I do that, I get x squared plus 3x minus 10. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and factor this. I need two numbers that multiply to give me a negative 10, but add to give me a positive 3. Well, I know positive 5 combined with a negative 2 will multiply to give me a negative 10 and give me a positive 3 when I add them. Now, I can't forget about this step that I just did. I can't just move it over and pretend like nothing happened. I have to bring back this 2 that I used in the beginning. The way I do that is I take whatever answer I have at the end here, or whatever term I have at the end, and divide it by that original number up here. So then I get x equals I get x equals negative 5 halves when I solve it. And then negative 2 over 2 just means I have x plus 1. Excuse me, x minus 1. Let me redo this again. I skipped some steps here and I may lose you guys. So let me go ahead and erase what I just did and explain this again. So let me go ahead and take this stuff off if I can. My eraser would work. Not sure why it's not working right now. That's interesting. Let me try something else because I'm not sure why my screen's not erasing. It's glitching on me for some reason. All right. Back to erase. I'm not sure why it's not giving me what I need. So I'll kind of show you on the side then, since my computer kind of froze up on me. So I had x. There we go. And there we go. I think I know what the issue is now. So here's what I did. So I think I had you guys with the dividing by 2 part, at least. So we take this 2, and every last term, we put 2 underneath it. Now I have x plus 5 halves equals 0, and x minus, remember, negative 2 divided by 2 is a negative 1. So here's my factors. X minus 1 equals 0. So if I take x plus 5 halves equals 0, and I solve it just like I did all my other terms in the previous problems, I get negative 5 halves for my first root. And then I get the second factor here, which is the x minus 1 equals 0. I add 1 to both sides, and I get x equals positive 1. So my roots are x equals negative 5 halves and positive 1. Let's try this again, maybe not so dirty. So first of all, I'm going to take the 8, I'm going to slide it over here to the end and multiply. So I get x squared minus 22x. 8 times 5 is a positive 40. Now I'm going to go ahead and factor these terms. I have x and x, get the x squared. Two numbers to give me a 40, but when I add them, give me a negative 22. Well, that's going to be negative 20 and positive 2. Negative 20 times positive 2 is positive 4, negative 20 times a negative 2. That's where I need a quick correction. Because a negative times a negative will give you this positive. And then when I add negative 20 plus negative 2 more, I get negative 22. Now take that 8 I had in the beginning and put it underneath my last term here. So what I get is x minus 28 equals 0 for my first problem. And then x minus 2 over 8 simplifies to 1/4 equals 0. Well, I get x equals positive 28, that first one, and x equals positive 1/4 when I solve. So my roots are at, I'll simplify 20 over 8 can simplify to, I think it's going to be 5 halves. And then 1/4 is just 1/4. So the big idea for today was just what we did in example 3 and 4. If you can factor each coefficient, like number 1 here, we can do 2, 10, and 8 can all be factored. 2, 10, and 8 can all be factored by 2. So you can use the method we did in example 1 and 2 to go ahead and try to factor them. Any other one that isn't factorable easily, you're going to have to do the slide method, where you take the first coefficient, multiply it times the second number, and then repeat the process when you factor. This is a pretty easy assignment, so get it done, and I hope to be grading it by Monday. Best of luck.